2026, the Great Reset. How the dollar will evaporate. A soldier's bank account showed $47,000 on Monday. By Friday, it bought him 3 loaves of bread. This isn't fiction. This is the mathematical inevitability that financial architects have been quietly modeling for months. The simulations all point to the same date, 2026. And the trigger? A trade war that spirals beyond anyone's control.
Cold, the tariff trigger. How it begins. March 2026. President Trump announces a sweeping 60% tariff on Chinese imports, 25% on European goods. Wall Street initially celebrates, protecting American jobs, the headlines scream. But within 72 hours, Beijing retaliates, not with matching tariffs, with something far more devastating. China dumps $800 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds. The bond market, that invisible foundation holding up every mortgage, every pension, every government program, begins to crack. Interest rates don't just rise, they explode. The 30-year mortgage rate hits 12%, then 15%. Credit freezes globally. But this is just the spark. The real fire hasn't even started. Within weeks, the European Union responds with its own countermeasures. Supply chains, already fragile from pandemic-era disruptions, snap completely. The cost of importing anything doubles overnight. Walmart shelves start showing gaps. Not from panic buying, from actual scarcity.
The invisible collapse. Your money evaporates while you sleep. Here's what the Federal Reserve doesn't advertise. Modern currency exists primarily as digital entries in banking computers. No gold backing, no tangible asset. Just confidence and keystrokes. When that confidence breaks, the evaporation happens faster than any historical precedent. June 2026. The Consumer Price Index jumps 8% in a single month. Economists call it a transitory spike. They're wrong. By August, it's 12%. By October, 18%. Your salary remains the same. But that salary now buys 30% less than it did 6 months ago. Imagine watching your life savings drain away, not from spending, but from simply existing. The middle class, teachers, engineers, small business owners, begins to feel the squeeze. That $200,000 retirement account, it still says $200,000, but when you go to buy groceries, you realize it has the purchasing power of $120,000, then $80,000. The numbers on the screen haven't changed. The value behind them has disintegrated.
The bank heist. Legal theft in broad daylight. November 2026. Emergency banking measures are announced. Temporary capital controls to stabilize the system. What does that actually mean? Your checking account is now limited to $500 withdrawals per week. Your savings account frozen for systematic review. International transfers blocked entirely. The government insists this is for your protection. But protection from what? From accessing your own money? This is the invisible theft. No masked robbers, no broken windows. Just policy decisions that turn your liquid assets into trapped prisoners. Banks remain open, ATMs still function. But the money that was yours yesterday is now locked behind bureaucratic barriers today. Meanwhile, inflation continues its rampage. That $500 weekly limit bought a week's worth of groceries in October. By December, it covers 3 days. By January 2027, maybe 2. You're not being robbed. You're being systematically impoverished by currency devaluation, while simultaneously being denied access to escape routes.
The crypto mirage, digital salvation, or another trap? As the dollar crumbles, millions flood into cryptocurrency. Bitcoin hits $200,000, then $350,000. Ethereum follows. The crypto faithful celebrate. They saw it coming. They prepared. They're safe. Except they're not. February 2027. Emergency financial legislation passes in 36 hours. Cryptocurrency exchanges are now required to report all transactions above $600 to the IRS. Withdrawal limits are imposed. Anti-terrorism measures, they claim. But here's the real knife. A 40% emergency tax on all cryptocurrency gains, retroactive to January 2026. That Bitcoin you bought as a lifeboat, the government just claimed nearly half of it. And if you don't comply, asset seizure, criminal penalties. The escape route slams shut. Some try to move funds to cold wallets, to peer-to-peer transactions, but when you need to convert crypto back to usable currency for rent, for food, for medicine, you're forced back into the regulated system. The system that's rigged against you.
The cascade. When everything fails simultaneously. March 2027. The dominoes have fallen. Pension funds, loaded with now worthless bonds, announce massive shortfalls. Teachers, firefighters, government workers, people who played by the rules their entire lives, receive letters informing them their promised retirement income is being restructured. Translation: cut by 50%. Corporate bankruptcies accelerate. Not the small businesses, they died months ago. Now it's the giants. A major airline collapses. 2 regional banks fail in a single week, despite FDIC insurance. The insurance fund itself is running dry. Unemployment hits 15%, but the real number, counting those who've stopped looking, is closer to 24%. Tent cities appear in suburbs that were middle-class neighborhoods 2 years earlier. And here's what nobody talks about: the psychological collapse. People who spent 30 years building wealth watch it evaporate. The social contract: work hard, save money, retire comfortably, revealed as a lie. The resulting rage, desperation, and sense of betrayal doesn't just hurt financially. It shatters entire worldviews. The question nobody wants to answer. If you're reading this, you're likely asking, what can I do? The uncomfortable truth is that individual preparation has limits when facing systematic collapse. Store food? Helpful, but temporary. Buy gold? Where will you hide it, and who will accept it when order breaks down? Move money offshore? The capital controls are already being drafted. This isn't just an economic crisis. It's the controlled demolition of the middle class. The wealth doesn't disappear, it transfers to those who own hard assets, to those with political connections, to those who knew the rules were changing before the announcement was made. April 2027, a new monetary system is proposed, the digital dollar, backed by a basket of commodities. Sounds reasonable until you read the fine print. All existing dollars must be converted at a 10-to-1 ratio. Your $100,000 becomes $10,000 in the new system. The reset is complete. The middle class that existed in 2025 is gone, not destroyed by bombs or disease, but by monetary policy. Clean, legal, irreversible.
The final simulation. The economists who modeled this scenario in late 2024 gave it a designation: controlled liquidity collapse with systematic wealth redistribution. Their simulations showed a 73% probability of this sequence beginning between 2026-2028. The trigger points varied: tariffs, pandemic resurgence, regional war, but the outcome was consistent. A rapid, devastating erosion of middle-class purchasing power, followed by asset consolidation at the top. They knew. They modeled it. They prepared for it. The question isn't whether this happens. The question is whether you'll be among those who saw it coming and positioned accordingly, or among the majority who believed stability would last forever. The dollar won't collapse in a single dramatic crash. It will evaporate slowly, then suddenly, like snow under an increasingly hot sun. One day you look and wonder where it went. That day is closer than you think. The simulations are already running. The countdown has already begun.
If you did, please remember that I create everything on this channel by myself.
And I can only keep doing this thanks to your likes and comments.
I'm Mustismy. See ya until the next video. As always, take care.